It's spring. You're waiting for the email from your dream university. Or if you were one of those 3 people who aren't on the internet yet, you're waiting for that proverbial envelope. Get in, friends, family, they're going to congratulate you, tell you how much you deserve your success. They are wrong. You don't deserve it. Those same people, if you don't get in, are going to tell you it's not your fault, that the system is arbitrary, almost random, meaningless. They are wrong too. University admissions, it's far from a perfect system, but it's definitely not arbitrary, not meaningless. Now, I'm not here to defend college admissions. I'm not here to tear it down either. I want to change the way you think about it. So obviously, if you are in that terrifying place called high school, this is for you. There are a few of you here. And if you are the teacher or the parent, the sibling, the friend of one of these poor souls, I hope you listen as well. But truly, I think that what I have to say can be useful for anyone who's facing a selective, competitive kind of situation. Don't think I'd recommend it as relationship advice. I'm going to try that, let me know how it goes. But I think it's a reframing that's really valuable for a lot of situations we interpret as judgments. Still, high school students, this one's especially for you. So in my work as a counselor, I work with some of the most competitive applicants imaginable, and some who are not. Students who are very rich, students who come from nothing, from every conceivable background and circumstance. And the thing that seems to unite so many of them is this sense of fear, of dread, this idea of college admissions as a reward for doing things right, or as a personal judgment. It's become an epidemic. And my message is this: you are thinking about it wrong. We're all thinking about college admissions in the wrong way. So many of the complaints are about perceived unfairness, the outsized role of SATs or athletics, ability to pay, race, background, region, personal story. And please don't get me wrong, from a social perspective, these are important issues. We need to be discussing, debating them publicly. But for you personally, this talk of unfairness, it's meaningless. It's based in the idea that by doing something, by being something, you somehow deserve a place. And that's not how it works. Seth Lloyd may have saved the concept of free will for us. But the thing is that whatever you have to offer, it's inescapably bound up in the environment you were raised in the genetics that you inherited, things you couldn't have chosen, things that you can't in any meaningful way have deserved. And as a side note, we always tend to focus on the advantages other people have, but if you're here listening to this talk, if you know you're going to college, if you're the kind of person who watches TED, you've already got a tremendous number of advantages that most people don't. So college can't be a reward. It's an opportunity. An undeserved, valuable, incredible opportunity. And that's because college admissions can't be fair until society is fair. Maybe even until genetics are fair. But the truth of the matter is, even if it could be fair, that's not what universities are trying to do. Contrary to so many of the messages that you've heard, they're not trying to reward the most deserving. They're trying to advance their institutional priorities. Now that means improving their rankings, bolstering their image, increasing alumni donations, having the best football or basketball team. It also involves genuinely valuable things like having relevant, cutting-edge research, vibrant intellectual climates, producing a diverse core of graduates who will revolutionize the fields they go into. But either way, it's not about you. You're a means to an end. It's about them and accomplishing their goals. So I want to encourage you to think about this and approach it with the exact same attitude. They have their mission and an idea of how they're going to get there. Figure out your mission and then decide what's going to help you get there. Now, I completely agree with Mohit that this doesn't mean you should know what you're going to be when you grow up. I don't think you can. I definitely don't think you should. But figure out what kind of issues you care about, what sort of impact you want to have, what questions do you have about the world, what kind of skills do you want to develop, what kind of understanding do you want to gain. That's what I mean by finding your personal mission. And if you're looking for examples, look around you. I think you've come to the right place. And then, just like universities, once you've got your mission, be strategic. Think about what will help you get there, the kind of environment that will help you get there. Now, a university's values don't have to perfectly match yours, but at a minimum, they ought to be, aligned in some way. This is a place where you're going to spend a lot of time. It's going to shape you and how you see the world. So, step one, figure out what a university stands for. Okay, how do you do that? You can start with their mission statements. They publish them. Yeah, but I've read them, right? They're vague. They all sort of sound the same. So you're going to have to dig deeper than that. Ask some questions. What do they spend their money on? Where do they get their money? What kind of issues are passionately discussed on campus? What is celebrated? What is swept under the rug? What do students get involved in? What do they do when they graduate? This process of figuring out a university's values, it's hard because everyone's putting on their best face. They are, so are you. The signals are hidden, but they're there. And what I want to suggest today is that one of the biggest signals may be staring you in the face, whether or not you get in. So let's spend a moment with the scenario that's on many of your minds anyway, the nightmare. You find a school, you think you love what it stands for, and you don't get it. Maybe it's a mistake, right? They don't know you. They didn't meet you. They got the paper version, the recs, the essays, the test scores, grades. It's true. They didn't meet you. Mistakes are possible. That's why your application matters. Spend some time on it. But they probably got closer than you realize. University admissions is a remarkably human, detailed process. And for all of that subjectivity, because of that subjectivity, they get a surprisingly good sense of applicants. I'm not going to defend every admissions decision out there, but I'll take it over a formula any day. And the folks who do this get a lot of practice, so they know what they're doing. So instead, let's focus on a second option, which is that they got a reasonably good sense of you and still said no. I think this is where admissions can be a powerful signal about what a school truly values. For all the flowery language, all the talk of celebrating each individual unique perspective, here is where institutional priorities can really show up. A focus on legacies or ability to pay, on athletics, on SAT scores, or some narrow notion of success that you don't fit into. And I think a denial can also be a signal that they don't think their school is where you're going to be able to have an impact. Maybe your perspective is already pretty well represented on their campus. Maybe they think you will be struggling so much to keep up that you won't be able to pursue your passions or to engage with others. Maybe they think you'll be drowned in the currents of what's happening, or that for one reason or another you won't be in a position to make the most of what's at their campus. And maybe they're right. So I want to encourage you to think about admissions as a signal of their priorities and of their predictions. And on the same token, an offer of admissions is a sign that they see a strategic alignment between their goals and your goals. Not a reward, not a personal validation, a grand moral judgment, a strategic alignment. But hey, good news. That's exactly what you're looking for. The value comes in what you do with it afterwards. So yes, work hard, do your best, not because it will make you deserving of a place, it won't, but because it will help you find your passions. It'll give you the skills and the credibility to advance them. And yes, universities will notice that. But instead of focusing on what looks good, focus on what helps you figure out who you are, what you want to accomplish. And then move on to the more important questions. Find a place that complements your values, a place where you can have an impact. Right? That's where admissions can be useful, not perfect, but useful because it can give you an insight into how a school sees you, whether they value your perspective, whether it's a place you can make a difference. And then you move on, not to where you're going, but to the real important question of what you do once you get there. And lastly, remember that all of these judgments, theirs and yours, they are simply bets on the future. You know yourself better than any university, and even you have no idea what you're capable of. So make the most of the doors that are open. Make this process about something bigger than personal validation. Focus on defining your priorities, what kind of impact you want to have, figuring out your personal mission. Do that, you can stop worrying about getting into the college of your dreams. You'll be too busy focusing on making the world of your dreams instead. Thank you.